Hey there, Transformers. Happy Thursday. First Thursday of 2022. We've made it, folks. We have made it to our first episode of Engineering Your Energy in the new year. I'm so glad to have you here. And I have a very important question for you. How's that New Year's resolution coming? Now, truth be told, I did not set any New Year's resolutions this year. They're not really my jam. I don't necessarily mark January 1st as being a pivotal time for change in my own life, although I do appreciate a changing of the guard or a changing of the seasons. I did jot down some intentionality around the winter solstice, things that I wanted to incorporate into the winter season in terms of my work and my well being. But I know a lot of you love resolutions. And here we are, nearly a week into the new year. And I want to know how that New Year's resolution is treating you. So go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know how things are going. That's what I want to talk about today, though, is how do we take goals or resolutions and really see them through? Now, there are a lot of different philosophies on this, and you ultimately have to find what works for you. But I want to share with you my approach to really following through on habit change, right? Things that we want to change about our reality. So, the first thing you've got to do, step number one, is you have to brainstorm, right? We've got to put everything on the table, jot down if I could up level in all of these different areas of my life, what would that look like? So brainstorm those goals and find the one that really stands out to you. Let's then make those goals SMART goals. And this is a big place where people sometimes um, falter a little bit in their goal setting is they're not making them smart. What do I mean by smart? They should be specific. So your goal should be a specific goal. It should be measurable. That means you should be able to take measurements of what that element of your life is like today and what that element of your life will be like at the finish line, perhaps December 31st of this year is your finish line. So it needs to be measurable. It needs to be actionable, meaning that we can take action every day, every week, every month to get closer to that end result. It needs to be reasonable, right? We need to be equipped to be able to get from point A to point B. We should not be anticipating or expecting some magnificent change. So it needs to be reasonable. And then T, it needs to be time bound, right? It needs to be confined to a period of time. And that can actually help with the R quality, that reasonable. Is it reasonable within the amount of time you're giving yourself? So if you set a resolution at the beginning of the year, is that resolution reasonable within a 1 year time frame for you, not for the person that you see on the internet who just paid off $75,000 worth of debt in 1 year, or the person in your church group who lost 100 pounds in 1 year? Is it reasonable within the time bound for you? Okay, so that is step number two. Make those goals SMART. Then step number three, you really need to find out what's underneath, what's motivating you towards this goal. Because a lot of times, those vanity goals or those surface levels goals, they actually are really important to us for a reason we might not be acknowledging. So, to do this, I like to ask the question of why. Why is this goal so important to me? Why am I so intent on incorporating this into my daily life? What will having this end result do for me in terms of my work, in terms of my relationships, in terms of my overall level of fulfillment and joy, in terms of my personal well being? Why is this important? We might ask that question a couple of times. When we do root cause analysis, we ask why 5 times. That's a 5 why analysis to get to the root cause of the problem. Here we're getting to the root cause of what's really motivating you towards this change. All of a sudden, that's really powerful reason to get up every day and to start doing things differently, because it's no longer about the way that we look. It's no longer about our levels of achievement in the workplace. It's no longer about being accepted. It's about being loved. It's about being seen. It's about being safe. It's really important, big mountain moving, motivating factors. So discover what's really motivating you. Okay. Step number 4, we need to anchor that goal. We need to remind ourselves on a daily basis of what's really motivating us. So I like to incorporate visual reminders, audible reminders, touch reminders, sensory reminders. Even smell or sound can be really helpful in igniting or interrupting, rather, our thought patterns of previous ways of being. Okay. An example of one is a leather keychain I keep on my keys. When I touch that leather keychain, when I'm at the grocery store, for example, it reminds me of my motivating factor, of my big motivating factor, and helps influence the decisions that I'm making while I'm shopping at the grocery store, or perhaps when you're driving to the gym. So those are anchors. They're helping remind you on a daily basis, hey, we're pursuing change. We're doing it in small, sustainable ways. Let's focus on that. Speaking of small, sustainable ways, your goals should be actionable in tiny steps. This should not be overly intimidating, something your body physically is not prepared for. So, if your goal in 2022 is to run a marathon by the end of the year, you should not be running, and you don't currently run, let's claim that caveat. You should not be trying to run 5 miles today. You should be trying to run or walk a quarter of a mile and build up to those 26 miles in your capacity. So you should be taking small steps to get there. And this is what people often find uncomfortable, especially when it comes to weight loss or other physical related goals. They feel like they need to be all in at once, doing it all, doing it big, hitting the heavy weights, running as fast as possible, hitting the cardio for an hour at the gym. And truth be told, if you're not already at a baseline, you need to be starting really small. Step number 5, seek support and accountability. You need to have cheerleaders who are celebrating your wins with you. You need to have unbiased people in your corner who want to see you succeed. You need support and you need accountability. And that accountability piece is often where we fall short. See, the great thing about our workplace is that there's a lot of accountability there. We set our PDP goals at the beginning of the year, and then our bosses, our teams are holding us accountable to realizing those goals by the end of the year, or we get put on a performance review, get put on probation, or we could even be terminated. So there's a lot of accountability to follow through on our goals in that regard. And we don't usually have that same accountability when it comes to our personal life or our relationships. So find who is going to hold you accountable in an unbiased way. This is why I love coaches, because that's literally what we do. We hold you accountable in an unbiased way and we put you first. So those are my 5 steps for really making sure you're following through on your goals. Step number 1 is brainstorm. Step number 2 is make them smart. Step number 3, discover what's really motivating you. Step number 4, anchor it in your environment. And step number 5, seek support and accountability. If you're struggling with that accountability piece and you want to do something about it, you want to make 2022 the year you truly follow through on your goals, then hit me up at miltoncc.com. You can schedule a free consultation with me. We'll talk about what your limiting beliefs, your primary obstacles are right now in delivering you better stress management and burnout prevention techniques. Can't wait to talk to you. It will be a transformative 45-minute conversation. I can guarantee you that. So with that, we will see you next week for another episode of Engineering Your Energy. Until then, I'm Caroline Milton with Milton Coaching Collective. Thank you.